All right. Today, we're going to talk about unwrapping your business and your life. And we have a guest with us, Terry August. She has been the owner of Fanciful Gift Baskets in Hollywood and the LA area, and has had a very successful business for close to 30 years or over 30 years. Just an amazing woman I met when I first started in the gift basket side, way prior to me starting on the gift wrapping side. So I am excited to have her on the show today. So let's welcome Terry. Yay, Terry.
Hey, Michelle. It was 5 years.
35. Goodness gracious. You definitely have a record for how long you've owned your business and served your community.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it wasn't necessarily always in gift baskets. You've served your community by supporting women like me and other women in the gift basket space who are, growing businesses and trying to create profitable businesses, not just growing them. So I am so excited to have you on here today. Just so people know, I'm going to give them a little bit of background about you, and then I would like you to talk a little bit about your story. So I met Terry probably 9 years ago, 8.5, 9 years ago, when I first started Nifty in the gift basket space. And I was fascinated and quiet watching everybody who was doing everything. There were classes, and those were very fun. I learned a lot. But something that you taught when I was attending your class and before I actually reached out to you was you taught that when you're building a gift basket, make sure you have several elements. You said have linen, have some type of plant or living thing inside it if possible, or at least some kind of flower, something that's real. And I walked away from that and made that immediate change because I thought that was such great wisdom. And I've been doing it ever since. So you have so many nuggets that you've taught women over the years. And then not only that, when I was doing my research, like how is a successful business run? You opened your doors to me the next year, and a couple of us came in to see you, and you showed us your shop. You showed us the inside and how it was run. You were not afraid to do that. And that was so inspiring. I learned a lot from it, and I just want to say thank you. And here you are again. And Terry, you've been great with me. You've consulted with me. You're well worth paying and encouraging. But that came way after all your excellent wisdom and training. It was well worth you focusing on some of the things that I had issues with and needed help with. So I just want to welcome you, Terry. I can't wait. You have a wealth of knowledge. I just love spending time with you because you have so much in your basket. So welcome.
I do. It's hard-won knowledge, I like to say. But, I just think helping others is so fun. So it's really hard for me when I do my coaching. It's not hard to charge. I shouldn't say that because I'm a businesswoman, but I like to help and I like to educate. And that's how I help. I love opening people's world. I like giving them more awareness or skills where they can better their life. And because basically life is like a game, and you just need to win. You need to win more than you lose, and then you're okay. Right. And so I like to give people perspective because it's very easy when you're a small business to focus on the losses and the things that are wrong. And yes, you need to confront that. It's, a long time ago, an employee gave me the nickname Coach. He always called me Coach, and it kind of stuck. And I really love that nickname because I feel like that's who I am in life. I love bringing a team together. I love, like I said, life, business, everything's a game. There are goals, there are wins, there are losses, there are rules you follow. There are times you screw up and there's times you win. And then you go over your kind of films or whatever, and you go, what didn't I do right? What did I do right? And what I try and get people to do is emphasize on what they did right. Because most people do a lot of things right and they forget about that. They forget about what created that surge, what created that thing. And I think it's fun, like I said, I love to teach. I love to coach. I teach everything from teaching at conferences and one-on-one consulting to even chocolates and cheeses. And, it's like we used to do cheese classes all the time.
So I remember you talking about that. We were at one of the Gift Basket Association conferences, or maybe it was a show. The Fancy Food Show is actually where we were. And we went and had cocktails at a very cool little restaurant at the top somewhere. I can't remember
It was a
where.
Marriott. I remember that.
At the
Yeah.
Marriott, yeah, and you were discussing your cheese. I was fascinated. I totally came home and searched that out. I thought, how do I educate myself? I live down in Southern California, and how do I do that? And you kept saying, you've got to try to get up there for one of the cheese events because it was just so cool. And it's like, you really do need to know your products.
Yeah.
And
I
that,
think it was important for me because my thing is authenticity. And I don't like not knowing things. I don't like it when people ask me a question, and I don't want to be, I think the problem partially with the gifting and the gift basket industry is there was a lot of pretty packaging, but there wasn't necessarily great food inside. And that was something you'd come up again. People would go, oh, gift baskets.
oh my God, Terry, that's such a great point, because I think, sometimes people will look at, well, your basket's $200. I mean, for me, my demographic is very different and actually very similar to yours, what yours was.
Both in Southern California, yeah.
Southern California, and just it's more high net worth clients, and they're going to pay for the quality. But that's the number one issue: is what is the quality of what's in the gift basket, not just the way it looks. And I think you mentioned something a little while back, and it was, some of the larger Walmart type of gift basket companies, buy their food from Mexico or out of the country. And it's not a French cheese. It's actually a cheese that looks like a French cheese, but it's been manufactured in another country, and brings the quality down. And
it's a brie flavored processed cheese food.
Yeah, that's such a great analogy. Well, tell me a little bit, first of all, it's so great to hear your wisdom as usual, but tell me a little bit about how you started your business. That's going to be question one.
Yeah.
Question two is going to be, was there ever a time to give up? And number three, what prompted you to sell your business? Because you have successfully sold a business.
Yeah.
Now, that is not something that's easy in the gift basket space. So those are such important questions because it leads us through your 35 years. There's a start in your personality. I loved when you shared with me in 2008, it was such a struggle. So if you could go through a little bit of that, because the women who are listening, or the men, but primarily women, they might be in one of those three places. And that, whatever you share with us, is inspiring. But even prior to that, and I'll keep us on track with the questions.
You and I could get off track easy.
Yes. But if you could tell all the women or the gift basket business owners, the people, as well as even gift wrappers, because we have them attending the podcast. We have widows who are trying to rebuild their lives and aren't sure which direction to go, or somebody who's even a single and just difficult times have come up and they want to start their own business. They love the idea of a gift basket or mobile gift wrapping. So what is one key nugget that you would want them to know before we head into the story, that they would walk away with at the end of this and be inspired? What would that nugget be?
Well, I don't know if there's one nugget, but I can probably break it down to two. And I think it's true whether you just want to improve your life or create a business. I think there's two things: is you have to do something that you really enjoy. You can't do something just for money. Being money motivated, yes, you have to make money. So that's like the double side of the coin. You can't do it just for a money motivation. But then the other thing I find people don't do is they don't charge enough. They don't make enough money. They get discouraged and leave. So it's two things. Once you decide to start selling, it's now a business, not a hobby. But if you don't love it, there's so much blood, sweat, and tears that goes in this, that you can get very tired very quickly. So it's kind of, I just wrote an article. I've been doing articles under Terry August on LinkedIn on like pick your spot and move was the name of it, which is something my dad used to say. And I think it's very important to kind of know where you're going, know what you want to achieve. And it can be a small goal. It may be what you want to achieve in the next 4 months. You don't have to set up a lifetime goal. Like when I started, segueing to that a little bit, is I just thought I was going to do something small. My kids were 3 and 5. And my husband was teaching music, and I wanted something that I could do in my home while they were growing up. And I had a background in design. I had a background in fine food. I'd done interior design. I'd done catering. So what could I do? And so I started with this with a very small perspective, as a very part-time thing it was supposed to be. And then what happened, and I did start it with the idea is I wanted to do something better. I didn't want to be the same old gift basket company. I actually wasn't even sure if I was going to 100% do gift baskets. I started with Fanciful because it's of the imagination, and I was still promoting catering. I was promoting flowers because I had done some floral work, and I was promoting gift baskets. And the gift baskets, and I was doing bridal fairs. And you know what I suggest to people is you just get out and you talk to people and you show what you want to do and you get feedback, and then you know what's working. You're always getting a mailing list. I kind of knew that stuff instinctively, but this was 1987. So you were talking no internet. You know, my friend and I sat at her table, did a little brochure, trifold. My friend drew a you know, kind of a neat logo for me. I did Fanciful because I felt it covered anything, because I wasn't sure. When I started, I can't say I went, oh, I'm definitely going to do baskets or I'm definitely going to do flowers. I just went, okay, let's see what hits. And I loved all those areas. Catering was hard. I preferred I liked the baskets because I liked creating a world in a basket, is what I realized. And so, but I sent out a mailer, and this is really the origin story. Is I had a little business directory, local businesses, and I sent out, I don't know, maybe 100 of these brochures to people, you know, and somebody called. It was a woman that I was acquainted with, and she was a receptionist somewhere, and they needed 200 baskets.
Wow.
I surveyed it. Now you can get all this data. I didn't even know. I thought I was trying to do craft shows, and nobody was buying, but everybody was looking and getting ideas. So those weren't my market. And then it sort of lit, you know, it lit up for me. And I went, oh, I was so naive. I was 31, 32. And I didn't even know that gift baskets, corporations did this and bought in quantity. So that was really the thing. And then it kind of hit me, and we did those, and we got other orders. But like I said, it was very the Victorian era, pretty things. I wanted pretty things. But then I realized, oh no, it's a corporate world. And so what happened is we got through that Christmas, and then my husband sort of joined me, and we began then to market to corporations. And we began to, you know, find people, join chambers of commerce, join networking groups, because we also knew that within corporations, there are going to be individuals that were making a paycheck. So if they wanted to buy something personally, we'd be talking to them, but we'd also get that corporation. And by talking to them, we'd find out, what do you use? And I'm very good. I knew I had to ask questions. So I'd ask, what would you use this for? What would you do? What are you doing now? And then also, I would say, always figuring out what you're doing different from your competition, because that's what's going to drive your sales. Why, how am I different? How was I different? I was different because I was very personal at the beginning. So people could custom design things because I didn't have a website. I could do whatever they wanted. It's one of the beauties of being a small business. It's very easy to pivot. It's why I love consulting and coaching small businesses, because you're much more changeable than if you have a board of directors that everything has to go through and you have this image.
Let me ask you a quick question. You are so right. And I think that's the benefit. It's a negative and a positive. It's negative because you're constantly doing the work, but it's a positive because it's just like right now in this environment, you need to pivot, which is why I added the gift wrapping side, because, you know, everything may not be baskets. And I think this is just a side note, because I want to go back, have a question for you, but another one. You know, there was a season probably in the 2005, 6, 7, where baskets lost their popularity because of the rise of Amazon and quickly buying things where it was like a box, you know, a gift in a box that was not personal, or as personal anyway. And so that kind of hurt a lot of the small gift basket businesses, I think, for a short season. But now they're finding again back to, you know, these are beautiful, hand curated, handmade, very personal, whether there's 1,000, 50, or 1. And, you know, you're serving, you said it so well, the corporation and the individual, because they're going to see your work and then they're going to say, oh my gosh, I love that. Can you do something like that for me, for my friend or my parent or whatever? So you said something before we go into the next part of those 3 questions. And that was, you sent off your brochure because there are a lot of women who are starting, Terry. You impact them. They're going to follow because of what I'm doing as well. So how did you keep track? Because
I did that.
How funny. You know what? I did a podcast yesterday.
It wasn't really computers.
Yeah, it's like it was one of my biggest mistakes, not keeping as good of track as I could have of my clients and my leads. So just give us a 5-second
Yeah.
how you did do it, even if it was pieces of paper in a folder.
Well, I think, there was enough going on in the computer world where we did know to keep a mailing list. Like and I did do it a lot on paper at first. Like if I'd go show my baskets, I'd have a notebook out for people to sign up. So I was very aware that, I needed somebody who I used to talk to, one of my business advisors would say, it's like identities. You want identities to promote to. So I don't know if we actually had like a computer list where I probably had something on my computer. Then in the years that followed, I luckily have a very smart husband who designed a computer system for us.
Oh, right. That's right.
And he knew what we wanted, which was, we were nerds. Like once we got into it, we were complete nerds before. And he built a program for, a customer database, who bought from us, complete customer histories, statistics. We would print out like graphs on sales, on income, on, what my people were producing. So we were very touchy-feely and very personal because but that allowed us to do. So everything we did had to promote the fact that we were personal. So I didn't want computers to get in the way of that. I didn't want to get like to a point where you go into a chat bot and you can't get any help. I always wanted that data to back up somebody on the phone with somebody. And we go, oh yes, we do have like your order from last year, or we do have this. So everything, because I knew in the beginning that I wanted to be personal, because one thing I wanted to say when you were talking about like when baskets went through a tough period, I really, my thing is, I think every disadvantage is an opportunity to turn something around.
Absolutely.
Like people are talking about gift baskets suck. You go, yes, they do usually, but ours don't,
Right.
What we do different. You take their given idea and you take that and you can now like transport that, which is why we start, I was lucky I had a shop. We began to do tastings and all of a sudden you're like, wow, they do cheese tastings. They must be a little better than like, the people at Costco. Or yes, we can because I realized customization was huge. You couldn't customize it those ways. We actually interviewed the people who did most of baskets for Amazon. I found out who it was and called them and asked them a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's on my list of things that I do. I find out, how is my competitor different than I am? Like, what am I doing? What could I be doing better? What do they do well? What do they not do well? And how can I set myself apart?
And we did sell on Amazon for a while, and we did very well with Amazon. Actually came to us at one point because they wanted a higher end basket. What we sold the most was vegan and chocolate because nobody was doing that. And you just look at that. That's my thing. Is I think, I was doing something where I was talking to somebody about something. I realized one of my things is I like to find things. I like to explore. I like to go out and find things. I want to figure out, is this chocolate better than that chocolate? How does chocolate from Ecuador taste compared to something from Madagascar? So I am endlessly curious. And once I realized, we kind of listed for ourselves, what made us different. Then we began to use that like in taglines, like we used to say, finding the best so you can send the best. Because nobody else in those big companies could say that. They weren't finding the best. They were packaging their own stuff and doing private label. And I also realized early on that what we were selling more than a product was a service. And so we really promoted the service aspect of things because it's really, they're coming to you because they need something done. Yes, you're coming to your product, but what you're really providing is a service to them. And we had another one, we used to say that, like service, reliability, and quality or something. And we just had it kind of like 3 words on top of our website. And we'd get a lot of calls off that because the big guys couldn't say that, and not with authentic. And then we'd write articles and back it up. And because I am who I am, Fanciful became very much who I am. It became part of me. And so you asked me about 2008. I think talking about disadvantages, that was tough. We almost didn't survive. I worked without a paycheck for about 1.5 years. Wally got a paycheck. I didn't get a paycheck. All my employees got paychecks. But I also knew it wouldn't last. And so we scaled down as much as we could. But then I just began to think, okay, I don't care how bad the economy is, somebody's doing okay.
That's so great. Wait, repeat that, Terry, because we've got people that are going to be listening to us and they're struggling and they're trying to figure out, I just answered a post yesterday, how do I hang on? And you said such a great thing. And it is, it's not going to last.
Well, and it's not going to last. I met with a financial advisor and he said, if you can get through 2000, I think this was by this time, 2009, you'll get through 2010 because most of your competitors won't make it through
out.
Time. And so what I did is I'm pretty resourceful. That is one of my strong suits, one of my best tools. And I said, okay, let's get people in the shop. What can we do to make more money if people aren't sending baskets too? So I came up with, and that's when we began to do cheese tastings, and people wanted something to do and they weren't expensive. We did a Groupon. It's when Groupon was huge, and we'd get like 40 people at a time, and they'd pay, I can't remember how much, but they'd pay for cheese tastings, and they'd be in our shop and they'd buy things. So I just had to think about like what I was talking about, being a small business, you can kind of spitball things. You can kind of go, okay, what else can we do to bring some?
That is so good, Terry. That is so good. So who's ever listening, pay attention to what she just said. And that was, she brought people into her shop.
Yeah. Or I went out to them. We did more shows. We did more shows where we showcased, like we do like artisan shows where we'd sell cheese and salami, because I sold food. Like not everybody does. But I did things where I could get out and see an audience, I'd get a mailing list, we'd have them drop a card or sign up so they could win something. But then you always want new people to promote to. You always want new people, and you don't know what that person at that art show who tastes your chocolate is going to be like,
That is so good. Yeah.
See
why you're so smart. That's why I had lunch with you for 2.5 hours.
Well, like I said, it's hard won. I mean, we went through tough times. We didn't know if we were going to make it. We were like, oh my God, I mean, I happen to have money in savings, and we made it through. It wasn't easy. But then I think what it did for me personally is it made me go, okay, if I'm going to work this hard, what do I really love? And it made me focus more and narrow my viewpoint, because it's very easy. This is part of what this article I just posted on LinkedIn was about. It's like my dad used to say when we would drive, when I was clutching, my dad was a lane changer. And he'd always say, my dad was a 6'5" he'd always say, pick your spot and move. And it was always like, and he'd change lanes, But I realized that was the thing in life, is like, you kind of have to stay in your lane. You have to have blinders on to a degree, because it's easy to jump on every trend and then not focus anywhere. But then I think you also have to be aware of what's going on in that lane next to you, right? So I would kind of do both, but I kind of then just sat with myself and go, okay, I'm working my butt off. Money's tough. Everybody was just in fear. I think that was the thing, is so many of my clients were scared, and some of my clients went bankrupt. And, our credit got cut. I used to have American Express where I could easily charge tons, and right in November, they cut my credit to like $30,000, right? So it was hard, but I sort of went, okay, what do I love? I love promoting small businesses. I love my small makers. I love them. And if I can get them into a good order or get them in a standard order, I can sell their product for them. So I began to focus on where my passion lay, because it made me very excited when I would walk through my shop and go, oh man, that's such a, like people would come in and I'd be like, oh, this is great, but that's great too. And oh my God, everything here is great. And people would say that. So that's when I really got into cheese. And that's when I really got into, I just upgraded everything. I just got better, That's
so good.
And it was fun. And I began to teach others and do talks at, wine festivals and pairings at wine festivals and things in our shop. And then just used and tried to drive that wedge into, do you really want to sell the same old thing, or do you want something that gets noticed?
That's so good.
Hollywood, right? It's like, do you want something that like they're going to get basket Christmas? And I had one client who wrote, it was my favorite quote, and I used it. She said, yours was the only gift that we ate everything in the basket.
Yeah, that happened to me too. And it was so impressive, wasn't it? Like, doesn't that make you feel proud?
That up, and people go, because that's what people want.
Yeah.
People are spending their money with you in this industry, or people are spending your whatever industry you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in note cards or photography or gift baskets. They're spending their money because they have a certain amount of confidence that you're going to deliver the effect they want. You're either going to impress somebody, or you're going to impress them with beauty, but it's always a confidence game. Who do you like? You get 3 quotes on something in your house, and you're going to go with the person, not necessarily the cheapest, but the person you have the most confidence is going to do exactly what you want. and you
Right.
know they're going to show up and you know they're going to do it. So that's why we kind of put reliability in our like mission statement, because that's what businesses want. We would say, we take your worry away. Like we would just talk to our clients and say, why do you
Yeah.
use this? Why do you send? We would just do this all the time. Like when they would call the first time, a lot of people like to call. We'd say, why did you choose us? And they would sometimes say, well, I saw you were on Melrose and I know Melrose is good. Or they'd say, I like when we started out, we had Yellow Pages ads.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Old school, right? So we had
Whoops.
Yellow Pages ads, but we used our first tagline was gifts with a personal touch. And the number of people who said, I really like that personal touch. They said it time and time. And you don't have to do a big survey. You just ask people one at a time and you
Right.
go, okay, we got to keep personal in everything we do because that's what people want. So it's just, I talk to you and I get excited because it's a fun game that is defeating at times. It's hard, but I think if we have a group, I'm going to mention here, like Sharon took over the gift designers Facebook page, and that's a good one for anyone who's small. It's just like join some groups where you can get some backup, because owning a business can be somewhat lonely. You have a lot of employees, but you may not have friends. I mean, you love them, but they're not necessarily, and I didn't like to let my employees know. I like to let them know when things were tough, but I didn't want to throw my troubles on them.
Right. I agree 100%.
Them to have confidence in us. Like if something was tough, I'd go, okay, it's tough right now. I may have to cut hours. Are you guys going to be okay? If you guys need to get a part-time job, I'll work my schedule. And and I rarely had to have them do that. Like one woman really wanted to do the cleaning for us because she didn't like our cleaning company. So she goes, my husband and I will come in Sundays, and she'd make a couple extra $100 a week that way. I go, okay, the minute you don't want to do it, you tell me, right? And she loved it. She loved having a clean shop. So it's that it's like life. Everything's going to be a balance, right? Like,
well, sometimes there is no balance, I mean, there are times like during the holidays, any words for wisdom during the holidays, because we're coming up on holidays, that you would say, and then
let's like the Olympics. That's what I tell you. It's like the Olympics. You're going to work.
It will finish.
A couple weeks. But you're going to come out with either a gold, a silver, or a bronze, hopefully. It's just your work. And I tell my staff, okay, you can have, I'm very generous with time off. I'm generous with a lot of stuff. I go, but when December comes, I own you.
That's funny. I kind of do the same. And they're all the team, the Nifty. I have an amazing team.
You do have an amazing team.
I have an amazing team. And it's like, they take a lot of their holidays during the summer. Yeah. And into, once October hits, most of them might have a couple of days here and there, or if they're planning it, they let me know well in advance, Michelle, I'm so sorry, the situation came up and I'm going to have to go or whatever. And so we work around that. But, that's same with you. I know I met some of your staff and I know some of your staff, and they're so great.
Well, you can't let this take over their whole life. It comes December and people have to go to their kids' plays. They have to go to their graduations. They have to go to the school meetup. They have to do those things. And I don't want to take those. Part of why I ran a business is I wanted a place where people like to work, where there were some freedoms for them, because they're working for a small company and they're making good money, but they're not making great money. They maybe could make more elsewhere. I don't know. They do get a lot of good food though. And we bought a lot. Nothing's too important where someone can't take an afternoon off to go see.
Right. I agree 1,000%.
They have a mother that they have to take to the hospital. That's far more important than making that gift basket.
Yep.
You can all stay 20 minutes later and make up the time. You know what I mean? It's like you have to. I think it's important to have a wide focus as well as a narrow focus. You have to shift into, it's always
what is your big picture? And, for me, it's women working when they want, when they can versus have to. And once in a while, someone, like Friday, we're trying to prepare. I was on an interview yesterday with American TV, which is very cool. And Friday, there was a couple of things that had to be finished up. And one gal, she's like, I'm just not feeling well. And another of the gals, she's like, I'll step in and I'll do this or whatever. And gosh, the team and the camaraderie that you build is so important. And you're so right. The bigger picture is really important. Well,
because people love it too. People want to help others. People want those people to have those experiences too, especially if you have the right staff. So if you build the right staff, like I said, I go back to coaching, I figure they're my team. we all go. Even sometimes we get big orders and I'd be like, oh my God, what do you guys? Oh no, we can do it. Don't worry. And
Yeah,
they love
that's
the
how mine
challenge.
is too.
You said Christmas. It's like, we know it's going to end. And
Yep.
then after that, it's going to be quiet. So it's like this very great, fun game where you're producing like mad
Yep.
and you know you're making money and there's going to be bonuses. So you just go, what the heck, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody, especially my veteran guys, would, you know, handle my temporary people. And we were a team. And we'd say, okay, are you guys okay? And I'd always check in. You guys okay? Anything you needed to, you know, when you're that busy, like check-ins, like, hey, you doing okay? Have I said anything that's pissed you off today?
Yeah, seriously. I've had to do that.
Off, I said, I'm not really being attentive. And they go, no, you're cool. And I go, okay, good. You just tell me. You got to tell me if you're.
So you did check-ins. Good job, Terry.
Yeah, it's really
That's
important.
the same with me. Because you do know there is an end. Like that is the thing about well, we love the busyness and I would love to have more busyness, but at the same time, you know, there is an end. So it's almost like for me, because my faith is very strong, if there's a big storm, I know that there's the other side of the water. So I have to keep my mind on, you know, January 1 or when we get time off, when we do a lot of celebrity work. So during the holiday break from Christmas to New Year's, one of us is working and it tends to be me, but other women always step in, you know, hey, I'll go do this or whatever, you know. That's good to know. I mean, our teams are so important and so valuable. I can't even imagine without them. Okay, so let me, go ahead.
Where sometimes like you've got a new group and the gift designers, I think those for the small people are particularly great because there's people, there's people who understand exactly what you're going through. And I think that's where those Facebook groups are good because you can go on and say, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. What do I do? And everyone will either say, keep going, or maybe don't get order. And you get this great, and it is mainly
encouragement. You
do. And like I said, it's a unique thing because the specific groups now that you can join, they know exactly what you're going through. And there are going to be few people outside your industry or who aren't running businesses who will understand that. And that's why sometimes those things are, they're very helpful everyone's busy, but everyone can throw down like, oh, I've got this many to do tonight. And somebody else will say something. So it's kind of like you have this fun kind of, it is like, and
we're part of a group like that, and it is very fun. It's fun to watch people get frustrated or don't know what to do, or you know, they're a seasoned, you know, gift basket business owner, but they're, you know, something still can be bothersome, and it's like you almost need that camaraderie to help pull you up out of that whatever.
Yes,
because it could just be some funky thing, but you just feel a certain way right now. So I think
sometimes you just need to vent.
You need to vent.
Your employees, you can't vent to your customers because you're never going to argument with a customer. So being mad at them won't help you. So it's great to have a safe space where you can go,
it is.
I am so tired, or I had a client, and then you get it all out of your system and you go, okay.
Yeah. Especially for women. We know how to solve a problem, but the truth is sometimes we just need somebody to listen without any criticism, you know.
You just need someone to listen and acknowledge. That's life, you know. You don't
tell me
your problem. You just want to, because if you can say it, you can then sometimes see it.
Right. Well, and you said something earlier too, and I would say I don't have many superpowers, but resourcefulness is one of them. So I will be as resourceful as I can. And you said that, you know, I think there's a group of people who are resourceful and they might have an answer, and it could be something small. Listen, I really need some really good crackers and I want them organic and I you know, whatever. And we all can lead somebody to whatever direction they might want to go in. So let me ask you this, staying on the three main questions. So what made you,
where are we on those?
What's that?
Where are we on those?
Yeah. Well, you went through 2008 and that was very insightful because I think there's a lot of people who are in that position right now. And so so you came out, you started doing well. I got to know you in, I think it was late 2015 or early 2016. And, you know, your business was just doing very, very well. And you were just such a great teacher and all the things we've already shared. So leading up to currently, tell us how you walked through COVID for a couple of minutes and then take us into when did you think, okay, I'm kind of ready to move out? Because first of all, you have a very successful run with your business. 35 years is a long time. And you set it up well. You just shared so many great pieces in there, and I can't wait to share those with everyone else when they get to hear this, especially. But what led you to decide, okay, I'm a little bit ready to move forward? And I know you've walked through some struggles with health challenges with your husband. So give us a little insight to that.
Well, I think you have to, when you get to a certain point, be ready for the end game. And you have to also know that you're probably not going to sell a business overnight. You know, it's not like a house, it's a business, and and it's a weird business. You know, our business was very personal. It wasn't, I mean, we had it down to a point where someone could assume it. Like we had a custom site where people could build their own baskets, which I loved, or just put things. I love just doing food and stuff. Like sometimes people would just buy a great box of chocolates, and those were one of my favorite things. So, but I knew, you know, I'm now 68, and my husband, yes, had some health challenges, and I kind of went, okay, he's 9 years older than I am, and I just sort of, you know, I would say I probably began thinking about it around 2015, 2016, looking at it, knowing it could be a 2 to 3 year cycle to sell it. So we kind of got an appraisal. We went through a broker, which I recommend, but just know brokers take like 15%. But
yeah, tell us a little bit about that, because this is for those who would want to sell to.
And I didn't love, so I got a fairly low evaluation at that point, but then COVID hit. And for us, COVID was a gold mine, right? Because people, and I didn't know, and we, like, a lot of people quit or said, no, I don't want to be here. Like my customer service people said, no, I don't want to be here while this is happening. So there were only 4 of us or 5 of us in the shop at that point. I had my woman who did the shipping and baskets. Sometimes I had Erla, who you know, and I had me and my husband, and then I had our delivery guy. And what we didn't know was COVID was the best year I think we ever had. Well, I won't get into it. Way back, we did some grocery store and wholesale things, like for Bristol Farms. We did 9,000 gifts. So that was probably our best year, but it was one of our best years and with the lowest cost, because my landlord was going to raise our rent, but he said if we continue, he was so afraid we weren't going to pay that we lucked out and he didn't raise our rent. As long as we kept paying for the rest of our lease, which is another 4 years, he kept it. So that was great. So I made like 6,000-7,000 a year just on that. We had and we learned how just to do things. Like we learned how to do things really fast. We really got into doing more boxes, more totes. We got it because everything was shipping. So I knew, I had looked at it before, and then I went, okay, we made really good profits this year. This is the time to be showing our profit. And that would be so we went back with the broker I met through the chamber. But the thing I would warn everybody about on brokers is brokers are there for the deal, right? They're not there. It's not like a real estate. You don't have a broker that sells your business and another broker who come with the buyer. You have one person who's over both. So they don't necessarily look out for you. So you really need a good lawyer, and you need to really read your contracts. But I will say this broker within about a month brought us 3 good offers. So my thing is, if you think you want to sell, and we were getting older, I had done pretty much everything I could do. I still love the business. You know, my ideal was to kind of stay in the industry because I do love it. But so know that I talked to somebody when I was in the middle of this who had sold the business. He goes, just know that the broker works for the deal. They don't work for you.
That's great wisdom.
You have to really know that, because I was very disappointed in our broker a few times, and I realized that she was just wanting to make the sale, and she was giving into the buyer more than she should have. So anyway, but the thing I would say is pretty much when you sell your business, the standard, now things change. You read things in tech where they get valued at billions and do all this stuff. But in a basic small business, your average is going to be 2.5 to 3 times whatever your profits are. And that's what you're going to make. And they're going to add in, I think, one owner's salary. I don't know if I can't remember. There's a formula and you can find it. But it's basically 2.5 to 3 times is typically what you're going to make. It'll probably include most of your inventory. Ours included inventory up to a certain point, but she was also buying it over the holidays. So we included that. And yeah, so like a lot of people, I know a lot of small business owners, you hide your money, you hide your profits because you don't really want to pay a lot of taxes because, let's face it, we don't make tons of money. And I remember the best advice I got from a banker was just like, pay your taxes. Yeah. Pay your taxes, because they're going to look at about 3 years of financials. So if you're thinking of it, just start paying your taxes, start showing as much profit, because they're going to kind of average it. And so we were very lucky because we had a spectacular we had a good 19, a spectacular 2020, and a really good 2021, especially at the beginning. We had huge orders came in via the Emmys and the Oscars and different things, some really big orders that were unexpected. I went, okay, we just got to do this.
That's really good, Terry. That's a great,
so,
the fact that you were thinking ahead and then keeping records. Like I keep very good records and I will pay taxes. Like I make sure that my inventory is spot on. I make sure my taxes are paid. I have a great bookkeeper and a great CPA. And so I don't want to, I know what it's like to have any kind of hidden life. I don't want that at all. So in my business, I want, it's hard because middle income, that we get hit the hardest on our taxes. So that is a hard thing. Yeah. That's great to say. Anybody who has the desire, who wants to sell their business, keep good records, profit or not, just keep good records.
Keep good records. And, it's one of those things where like everything we did when we were trying to lower our taxes was legal. I mean, I've been audited.
And you should. Got to have wisdom.
Yeah, you got to have wisdom. But then I began to kind of go, no, let's show more profit. Let's not write this off. Let's pay that. And I really wanted them to see, because I did a lot of travel and that was all a write-off. And then it was like, okay, maybe, well, then I hadn't traveled in 2020, nor did I. Well, I did some in 2021, but not as much. So yes, it was really like, let's just see how much profit I can show for my business. And I think it's the most important thing. And then having a really good contracts lawyer who will guide you, because the person I ultimately signed with, the things they were asking for were pretty outlandish, to a point where even my lawyer was like, he said to me at one point I would question any broker who even forwarded this sales agreement to you, because it was they were asking for it.
It's so funny.
So yeah. But we also had a wine license to transfer, and that kind of muddied.
That's the same with me.
It wasn't a big deal, though. Everybody thinks it's going to be a big deal, and it's not. But you know that, and I know that. But somebody that buy the business, they're nervous. So, when were they going to take it over? Were they going to wait till the wine license transfers, which could take 3 months? And so they ended up taking it over. Can you believe this? Like November 7th.
Oh gosh, crazy.
It was crazy.
Crazy. Well, so what are you doing right now, Terry? First of all, you've given us such great wisdom, and it's just been such a joy. I learn every time I listen to you. Every time. I've written notes in here. I've been in business for, not like you, but it'll be 9 years in October.
I remember that from the first time I met you. You're brilliant.
So sweet.
It's just, I admire the heck out of you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Well, how can people, first of all, what are you doing now? You mentioned LinkedIn, so I'll give that information out.
Yeah, it's Terry August with a Y. I'm helping with the gift basket designer, or I think it's a Gift Designers Alliance on Facebook. I'm helping with her conference. I'm one of Sharon's inner circles. You might be too. And I'm going to really help her because I love this woman, and I think we need this in this industry for small businesses, a place you can go, a place you can learn. I'm doing coaching, both life and business. I love it. I just love to teach. And so I want to continue teaching. I'm actually right now, there's a small, really great gourmet store, and they want me to come in and I'm going to teach their employees about cheese. Like I already went to her and took her some of my favorite cheeses.
Oh,
and
funny.
Screen them, because it's just like,
I probably love them.
I love you asked me at one point what's important in a business, and for me it's connections, right? And so I can't help it. It's built into me, is to connect with people, connect other people with other people, and I'd like to show the world, everybody, how beautiful the world is, because the world's beautiful. More good people, bad people.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's great food, there's beautiful products, and anything I can do to help people create a life that they want, then that's what I want to do.
So a question, with your cheeses in your baskets, is that what you did, even though, are they some of them perishable?
Some are, but there's ways to make that, like you do harder cheeses. There is a brie in a tin that is an actual brie, and it's quite good and can sit out. We've actually served it at tastings and people loved it. There's some smoked cheeses that can sit out for a while. We did have a cooler at work, so we did keep most of our cheeses. There's a smoked cheese from Vermont that is out of this world. It's a smoked cheddar, and it is so good. And I swear to God, we opened one that had been in a basket, that had been in our window, had gone to some events, and we opened it to go, this can't be good anymore, and it was still good.
Oh, wow, how funny.
But it was just, Yeah. So what I'm doing now is, yes, I'm doing coaching for small businesses, because I love small businesses and in life, and writing on LinkedIn. I probably will have a Substack soon, but it's just under Terry August, and really push this Gift Designers Alliance.
I love that, because you're so good, especially with, well, you're good with all of us, but especially the new ones, you know, that need encouragement and need help and training.
Yeah, because when you're writing a business, it's lonely. You're there and you're trying to do it, and you don't go to an office every day. You're just trying to do it. And, you know, my goal is just to I kind of feel like I'm kind of like a travel agent. Like, my job is to help them on their journey and not let them detour too much, because you got to but help them arrive safely, like, and have them go as fast or as slow. Some people are working a full-time job and trying to do something, and some people really want to go fast. And so my thing is to duplicate that person in front of me and go, what do you want? Where do you want to go? And how, if I always ask, what do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year? We don't have to go too far if you don't want. Let's just focus on the next month, you know? And then it's, as long as you're winning, as long as you're moving, even if it's slow, you're going to win. You know, you're going to get there. You might get there. It might take you, you know, 6 months to get to that journey, where someone else might do it in a month. But as long as you're doing it and it's making you happy, you know, that's my goal, is just to help people achieve their goals.
Yeah, that's great. And you were thinking about writing a book. Did I read that? I read that.
Yeah, I know. I have a memoir teacher who really wants me to write one. And I think what I'm going to do is, it's going to have anecdotes from Fanciful in one chapter with business advice in another.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, she loved it. I've started a memoir class, and I've started to make a list of things, because you know, I think I'm like everybody. I don't realize what I know. I think I don't know anything. You know, I think we're all like that. We all have that imposter, like, what do I know? And then you talk to me, I go, oh, I know stuff, you know? So,
well, I was talking to a gal yesterday who, she's in the environmental space, in just a whole different industry. And she's a little younger than I am. I know that, but I was telling her, because I told her my book, my final produced book is being shipped to me right now. So I get to do the first, you know, copy of seeing it. And, you know, I was telling her that you document, you don't create. And we get hung up on the, what can I create? Because, like, in your basket side, how do I create this gift that's going to be beautiful? Like, we're always thinking in terms of creating, but really, when it comes to your memoirs or your and life experience, especially with regards to your business, it's just document it. So you have your phone. When I do a lot of walking, you document this particular thing, like, you know, you just document it.
Also, that's one thing they said, just keep a list. Every time you think of something,
list. Yeah, write
it down. Just keep a whole list of things that have happened that you want to talk about. Just write down points, have hundreds of things on there.
Make sure you let us know when you do that.
Hollywood. So the story's hysterical for the things.
Just that. That's your title. Gift baskets to Hollywood, or something along those lines.
I mean, really, we had Michael Jackson as a client for years.
That's amazing.
Sent birds. He always sent birds. Honest to God, we used to do 2 doves in a yeah.
Very cool.
So,
very cool, Terry, what a joy and what a pleasure. I'm going to make sure that I give all your contact information. And once this is all, you know, together and edited, I'll definitely send you a link. And then I'm going to put this in the Facebook group. I don't know if you can put these on LinkedIn. It would be great, but it'll definitely go up on YouTube and up my podcast channel as well. And so we're getting new subscribers daily for the podcast. And it's so good, because wisdom like this is, it's priceless, you know, and it's such a treasure. So I want to say thank you. And everybody, I just want to say thank you for Terry and those who are listening. And I know you found a lot of good nuggets. We'll put some transcriptions in the description, and then also the way to contact Terry and her LinkedIn profile. And then she'll let us know when her book is ready. So,
you got it.
Yay.
Good seeing you, sweetheart.
Good to see you. Thank you, Terry. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.